If China wanted to challenge the U.S. Navy tomorrow, this is the ship they'd send first. The Type 055 Renhai-class destroyer, a warship so advanced it's forcing U.S. planners to rethink how carrier groups fight and survive. The Chinese Navy's modern surface fleet has evolved at a staggering pace, and the Renhai is the most potent symbol. It's already operational, patrolling key flashpoints in the East and South China Seas, with stealth shaping, long-range sensors, and enough vertical launch cells to overwhelm most defenses. It's designed for one purpose: to give China dominance over contested waters. In this briefing, we'll break down why the Renhai is referred to as a floating fortress, how it compares to U.S. warships, and the strategic impact it's having on the Indo-Pacific naval balance. The Renhai is the embodiment of China's ambition to project naval power far beyond its shores. At over 12,000 tons full load displacement, the Renhai dwarfs most surface combatants in the region. This sheer size has a purpose. It allows for a vast vertical launch system, advanced sensors, and long endurance at sea, giving it the sustained combat capability of a capital ship. The ship carries 112 vertical launch cells, capable of firing a mix of long-range anti-ship, land attack, hypersonic, and anti-air missiles. In Doctrine, this allows a single Renhai to serve as both a shield and a spear, defending carrier groups or amphibious task force, while also striking at high-value targets hundreds of miles away. It's the combination of the HHQ-9 Bravo long-range SAM, the YJ-18 Alpha anti-ship missile, and the CJ-10 land attack cruise missile gives it reach that directly challenges U.S. naval dominance in the Western Pacific. When compared to the U.S. Navy's Arleigh Burke-class destroyers or even the Ticonderoga-class cruisers, the Renhai's capabilities are striking. It carries more VLS than the Burkes, nearly matching the Ticonderoga's missile capacity, but with newer radar systems and greater growth potential. Even when stacked against the stealthy Zumwalt class, the Renhai's broader missile mix and multi-mission flexibility make it more adaptable for the plan's current needs. Against Japan's Maya class, the Renhai has a heavier strike load, but the Maya's Aegis-based systems remain a formidable defensive edge. In plan doctrine, the Renhai is the backbone of a layered surface action group. When paired with the Type 052 Delta destroyers or the Type 054 Alpha frigates, it provides long-range sensor coverage and command and control for coordinated missile strikes. This role mirrors the way the United States Navy uses cruisers to direct air defense and coordinate offensive salvos. The Renhai's dual-band radar and electronic warfare suite makes it a serious threat to Allied aircraft, particularly in the early hours of a high-intensity conflict. Strategically, the Type 055 changes the balance in the Indo-Pacific because it allows the plan to maintain credible blue water presence in contested zones such as the Philippine Sea, South China Sea, and near the First Island Chain. In a Taiwan contingency, Renhai-class destroyers would likely be deployed as area denial assets, pushing U.S. carrier strike groups further out while ensuring Chinese amphibious and blockade operations closer to home. Their long endurance and at-sea replenishment capability also suggest a growing planned interest in sustained operations deep into the Pacific, potentially escorting Chinese carrier groups into the Indian Ocean. In a hypothetical engagement, the Renhai operating in conjunction with PLA Air Force bombers and land-based missile batteries could saturate Allied defenses with layered missile attacks, overwhelming Aegis ships, degrading air cover, and opening gaps for other planned vessels to exploit. Its large radar cross-section, compared with stealthier ships, is a vulnerability. But in mass fleet operations with decoys and electronic countermeasures, the Renhai becomes far harder to neutralize before it fires. This is why the Western analysts call it a floating fortress. It's not just the ship itself, but the doctrine around it, how it integrates with China's expanding carrier fleet, its satellite targeting network, and its anti-access area denial strategy. That's what makes it such a significant threat to Allied freedom of maneuver in the Indo-Pacific. For the West, the Renhai represents a new kind of pacing challenge, a surface combatant that matches or exceeds U.S. warships in key areas, backed by China's massive shipbuilding output and steadily intensifying training tempo. The U.S. Navy's answer will require not just technology upgrades, but operational innovation to ensure carrier strike groups remain survivable in the Western Pacific. The Renhai is a warning shot built in steel and composite. It signals Beijing's intent to field warships that can contest and potentially dominate the world's most strategically vital waters. Whether that challenge is met will depend on how quickly the West can adapt. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on China's naval strategy, go ahead and subscribe to SIGMA Recon, turn on the notifications. Leave a comment below. How would you counter the Renhai in a high-end Pacific conflict?